So good evening, everybody. My name is Dr. Lorna Pham. I'm Lorna Pham. I'm the Chief Compliance Officer here at Sierra Health and Wellness Center. As you know, it's also we also run New Start Recovery, and also Recovery Happens. So I'm so excited to be part of this alumni group and alumni meeting. And when John asked me if I wanted to contribute something and see if I can help the alumni, I said I'd be more than happy to assist and do some speaking engagement to all of you. We're very pleased that you've all joined us here at our 6:00 p.m. alumni presentation. And I'm so also happy that the fact that you also chose Sierra Health and Wellness Center to assist you in your recovery. So one of the things I'm going to talk about today is something that oftentimes we forget because we're in this moment of, we're always thinking of ways to make ourselves better. But there's something that I think that we often forget, and this has really occurred at the time when the pandemic came, and that is called resilience. I know most of you have probably heard of that term already before, over and over, or maybe not. But as for me, I think that's something that I hold dear to my heart. It's because I think of our life. We go through all this motion, all these changes, and we hit a lot of hurdles. And oftentimes it's hard for us to get back up. And so resilience has really taught me to basically prepare for life changes that occurs, even though we want to try our best to plan things out, it doesn't occur, right? So I just want to give you a little bit of background on myself. Aside from being the Chief Compliance Officer here at Sierra Health and Wellness Center, I am considered a 1.5 generation Filipino American. I came here when I was about 11 years old. So I, grew up mostly here already. So I'm not gonna kind of disclose my age, but I grew up here quite a long time. And so I'm a psychologist by training, but like I told my colleague, I just don't have that empathy anymore. I'm just kidding. But for our patients, definitely I do. Sometimes I might come off as a little bit upfront and harsh, but I do have a softer side in me, and I think that's the kind of the resiliency part of me as well. I've been been in California all my life. I've gone through also these changes from moving from one different country to another. I've gone through a lot of experience as well too in this field, in this industry. One of my biggest passion as well too is doing these speaking engagements, whether it's about cultural diversity, about resilience, about mental health. This is something that I really pride myself on doing because I feel like just not just the personal experience that I have, but also to get to know everybody that's around in our community, and to at least provide them some, oftentimes we learn this at school, but we don't really give this out to the public. So that's pretty much my passion. And then the other part of it is ensuring that the compliance part is making sure that we follow all the regulations and rules and so forth. Those fun and boring stuff that other people think that only I can probably handle it. So anyway, so that's me in a nutshell. I don't want to give so much about myself, but I'm again, thank you all for joining me. So let's start our presentation. So I'm going to share my screen. I do hope you guys have a little bit of paper and pen with you, because I'm going to share something to you, and I need you to also answer some questions. And I know I can't see you all and raise your hand, but just keep this as on your note. Okay, let me start this off. Okay. So our topic is building your resilience. So I want to start off with your pen and paper if you have them. And I want to have you guys all of you answer this question. Let me see if I can. My apologies, I'm having a hard time with my mouse here. My mouse is missing on my end. One moment. I'm freezing up here. Okay. So I want to know, how resilient are you? So there's 6 questions that I want you to answer. And at the end, we'll give you the score. Okay. So the first question is, I tend to bounce back quickly after hard times. Number 1 is strongly disagree. 2, disagree. 3 is neutral, 4 agree, and then 5 strongly agree. Okay. The next one is I have a hard time making it through stressful events. Again, from strongly agree is 5, disagree is 4, neutral is 3, agree is 2, and strongly agree is 1. The third one is it does not take me long to recover from a stressful event. Strongly disagree is 1, disagree is 2, neutral is 3, agree is 4, and strongly agree is 5. Okay. Next question. It is hard for me to snap back when something bad happens. Strongly disagree is 5, disagree is 4, neutral is 3, agree is 2, and strongly agree is 1. Okay. Fifth question is, I usually come through difficult times with little trouble. Strongly disagree is 1, disagree is 2, neutral is 3, agree is 4, strongly agree is 5. And the last question is, I tend to take a long time to get over setbacks in my life. Strongly disagree is 5, disagree is 4, neutral is 3, agree is 2, and strongly agree is 1. Okay. I want you to tally up your score, and then we'll go back to that. How resilient are you question? Okay, so keep that in mind. All right. Add the value 1 to 5 of your response for all the 6 items, creating a range from 6 to 30. So you're adding them. Divide the sum by the total number of questions answered. 6 is your final score, so that's a total of 6, right? So from your total score, from the 6, and then your average score. Again, we'll get back to it later. So remember this formula. So add all your questions, right? And divide it by the sum total of your 6 questions, and you get your average score. All right. I want to give you first the topic of mental illness. I'm just going to give you a brief statistics on mental illness. And I know this is substance abuse, but there is a correlation between the two, as we all know. So I want to just give you a little bit of statistics that's been occurring in our trend. So mental illness in the United States alone, there's about 1 in 5 U.S. adult experience mental illness. 1 out of 20 U.S. adult experience serious mental illness. And then 70% of youth from 6 to 17 years old experience mental health disorder. And 40% of the U.S. adults are struggling with both mental health or substance abuse. And half of lifetime mental illness begins at the age of 14 and 75% by the age of 24. And depression alone costs about $210.5 billion annually. Most of the illness that people experience with mental illness are anxiety disorders. About 40 million which affects about 40 million adults, about 18.1% of the population. Now, when I talk about seriously mental illness, and that's, we're talking about people that have schizophrenic, who was diagnosed with severely mentally ill, that's an ongoing bipolar, severe depression. Okay, psychiatric conditions, prevalence among adults conditions, you're about 7.8% that are major depressive disorder. About schizophrenic is about less than 1%, more than estimated about 1.5 million people, greater than 1%. Bipolar disorder is about 2.8%, estimated about 7 million people that are having the bipolar disorder. And again, that one of the highest score is anxiety disorder. So when I say anxiety, you're talking also about post-traumatic stress disorder. That's also included on the anxiety disorder as well too. It's kind of just, a lot of the symptoms kind of affect with PTSD and anxiety kind of, coincides together. Just a lot of the symptoms that happens there. PTSD is about 3.6% estimated, about 9 million people. OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder, is about 1.2%. Estimated about 3 million people, and borderline personality disorder is about 1.4%, estimated about 3.5 million people. Prevalence of mental illness and demographics of the demographic groups are as follows: about 14% are Asian, 22% white, Black or African Americans are 17%, American Indian or Alaskan Native is about 19%, and mixed multicultural is 32%. Hawaiian Native, about 70%, and then Hispanic or Latino, 18%, and lesbian, gay, or bisexual is about 4%. And you find a lot of the statistics, if you go to NAMI, you'll see a lot of the trends that occurs, and it changes over time as well, too. The suicide rate among U.S. Is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States, and the second leading cause of death among people between the age of 10 and 34. I wanted to focus on this because I want to give you the statistics on this so you understand. Being an alumni, oftentimes we are out in our little, we're out in our, we're no longer in that residential facility. We're no longer in that safe space. And most of us go out now and try to, to rely on our friends or family if we have them. And so I wanted to make sure that we are fully aware of the statistics that's happening outside of in the United States regarding suicide rate. Another thing that I wanted to also focus on is 70% of all the people who die by suicide are male. And the reason for that is because oftentimes there is a higher percentage of, the lethal use, the things that they use that will, when they commit suicide are much more lethal than what a female who is attempting for suicide would use. And so, I wanted to emphasize on that because, again, it's, I want us to focus on just finding, looking at those triggers, looking at those, things that can help us identify if somebody is in that occurrence that are needing that help. And then 90% of the people who die of suicide have experienced symptoms of mental health condition but are not diagnosed. 46% of people who die by suicide have been diagnosed with mental health conditions, and then suicide rates has increased about 35%, probably more now since 1999. So there's been an increasing trend, and you see that a lot on news. You've seen more of everybody in the news are talking about, mental health illness, having to have, available resources for anyone in the population that's experiencing this, and also the alumni app is, something that we can also have at least a connection with other people if needing to find some resources or something that's available out there. Suicide rates by gender, again, from about hold on, I'm having issues with my slides. From about 2009 to 2018, the age-adjusted suicide death rate increased from about 11.76 to 14.24 per 100,000 people. From 2009 to 2018, the rate increased from 19.23 to about 22.79 per 100,000 for males. And among females, the rate increased from 4.88 in 2009 and then to 6.18 to 2018. It's a significant change, and as you can see, the trends are going up as the ages, as they get older. And then since 2009, the age-adjusted suicide death rate has increased from all races, ethnicities. As you can see from American Indian and Alaska Native populations, the age-adjusted suicide rate has increased. The rate increased from 15.4% 15.4 per 100,000 in 2009, and 22.1 per 100,000 in 2018. Overall, in the United States, you will see the trend is going up as we go by years. And it gotten worse, of course, as you know, with the pandemic has gotten worse, because again, the isolation, the lack of resources that we had, and it's something that we haven't experienced before, not experienced before, but it is something that we, from our generation has probably not experienced. In my generation, we never experienced this, everything being closed out. You can't even go out for days and weeks and so forth. So this is where I'm going to talk about resilience, and thank you for kind of putting up with me with the statistics, but I wanted to share that to you, and so that we can go in this and understanding why I added that piece of mental illness of information to now we're going to resiliency. So resilience, we want us to cultivate your own resilience, right? We want you to learn how you can bounce back and how you can do that. So resilience, according to the American Psychological Association, resilience is defined as the process and outcome of successfully adapting to difficult or challenging life experiences, especially through mental, emotional, behavioral flexibility, adjustment to extend and internal demands. Okay, that's APA's definition. But what's our definition, right? Resilience is a process of adapting when you have various challenges from your life, from whether it's adversity, tragedy, trauma, threats, family problems, your relationship problems, serious health problems, financial, school, workplace. So those are various challenges that we experience. And how well can we bounce back from that, or show how we can resolve, or how tough the toughness during difficult circumstances. So we can bounce back, but maybe not as quickly, but you're able to regroup, restructure, and reanalyze, restart again. And oftentimes when we hit that wall, right, some of us kind of just give up. And some of us decide, well, it's that wall is so hard for me to overcome, or, the obstacle is so hard that sometimes I just want to give up. But you have to understand, everybody has its own way of bouncing back. Everyone will experience one of these or a similar difficulty in their life. The ability to respond to their difficulties is without greater harm is important, because it allows us to overcome negative experiences, and is the ability that can be learned. So bouncing back, just think of resilience as like the ball, but bouncing back, right? So your resiliency, we went about this resilience skill, and hopefully you all got your score. So how resilient are you? So this is the interpretation. If you scored an average of 1 to 2.99, you have low resilience. If you're about 3 to about 4.30, you're about normal resilience. I mean, you can bounce back. But then 4.315, that means you have the high resilience. That means you are able to bounce back so quickly that nothing, like, just, you can just get up there and move on without a problem, right? So I want you to look at those resilience and see where you stand, whether you're low, normal, or high. So resilience is ordinary, not extraordinary. So what does that mean? Resilience is something that can be learned, developed, enhanced through positive behaviors, thoughts, and interactions. Building resilience is like building a muscle. Think about it. It takes time and effort, right? During my younger days, I was, a workout fanatic. I love to work out. And, and so when I had my first, forgive me if some of you can't relate, but when I had my first child, because I was already in that moment where I'm already working out and so forth, I was able to bounce back quickly, got my energy back, got everything back, and so forth. So, but it took time, but I was still able to bounce back. And other things for me that occurred in different changes in your life, the way you bounce back, how fast you bounce back to your old self, right? So that's how you have to think about it. You're building your muscle. It takes time and effort. It's going to take a lot of energy, but the rewards are worth it, right? So they don't have to determine the outcome of your life. So don't let just because you ran to a hurdle, or you ran to an obstacle that is hard to maneuver, doesn't mean that it's going to be the outcome of your life. I mean, that don't let that replace whatever your goal is. You can always control, modify, and you can make it grow, right? It helps you go through difficult challenges and circumstances when you're resilient, and it empowers you to grow. Because once when you hit something hard and you're able to bounce back and move forward, what happens? It empowers you to grow. You say, oh, you know what? I've been through that. I've gone through that. Let's look at it this way. Our parents, or maybe, people in our life, when they are telling us stories of their life, we listen to them of their challenges, their life circumstances, and then we see how they come back up. And you think to yourself, like, wow, that's that's really incredible that you're able to do that. It's incredible you're able to just move beyond the trauma that you've experienced. And it's hard, right? We sometimes have to go through a lot of help. Like, we go to therapy, we go to treatments, we go to these what do you call this? These treatments to help us move through that and jump through those barriers. So how do you build your resilience, right? So let's put it this way. When we're stressed, another good thing that I can tell you about handling your stress. When we get stressed, what are some of the activities that we do to minimize that stress? Unfortunately, there are some of us that get into a habit where we want something that's quick fix. And that quick fix could be, whether it's taking drugs, whether it's drinking alcohol, it's a quick fix. Because that quick fix is what it is, quick fix. You feel stressed, you feel angry, you feel something in your body that you don't like that feeling. You take a hit here and there, it calms you down. It's quick fix. But if I decided, like if I'm angry or stressed and I decide I want to do yoga, it's going to take me a while to do. It's going to take me a lot of practice because it takes time. So we want to do that quick fix. So, another thing to handle stress is you have to look at your positive coping skills, like what you've learned during the time that you're at Sierra, whether it's journaling, exercising, talking it through, talking it to somebody, taking deep breath, laugh about it. I'll give an example. I tell this to my, I have a teenager and my children. I always tell them this when they get angry at certain things, even myself, when I get angry, the first thing I say is, who's winning in this argument? Who's winning when I'm angry about something? Am I winning? No, I'm not winning because why? Because I'm feeling the anger. I'm feeling all this frustration. My blood pressure goes high, right? The other person, on the other hand, they don't know what you're feeling. They could care less what you're feeling because to the way they see it, they're winning because you're the one irritated. So why I tell my kids is do this. As hard as it is sometimes to do this, sometimes you just have to let go because inside it eats you up. It does nothing but put negative effects on your body. And we feel that. We can sense that, right? We will toss and turn and think about it. We will lose our sleep. The whole day is ruined. Think of simple things. You're driving, somebody cuts you off, and you're pissed off at the whole world afterwards. And in the early morning, again, who's winning? Are they winning? They cut you off. They're gone, but you're the one upset. So think about that when we look at our stressors, right? So we need to take care of our body. We need, because we're the only one that can control our feelings. No one else. We are in charge of our body. Another thing is build your network, get involved in the community, get support. You're involved in the alumni. Beautiful thing that you guys can actually do for yourself is because you're getting the support from the alumni. You're getting involved in the community. And whether it's the alumni, whether it's, something, I think something small in your neighborhood that you can get involved in your community, and be present at that moment, because sometimes we see people in the front where they put this mask, right? But deep inside they're hurting, and we don't know that. And just sometimes just being around people, and sometimes people get comfortable and they start talking to you about your feelings, about their feelings, about what they're going through. And it's just accepting that and listening to that, being involved in that. And whether we are able to do something or whether not, but just the fact that we were there and listening, it does good. It makes us feel good because we were there for them. And then also find a purpose, find something meaningful to you where you can express your feelings, whether it's your art, being creative, do something that's challenging, right? If you have your goal you want to reach, do something challenging and do something where it can help you elevate yourself to where you want to be. But also accept change, because also accepting circumstances that cannot be changed can help you focus on circumstances that you can alter. Change is inevitable. Change will happen. Our life goes in waves, and that's how I see it. You either ride with the wave or you fall flat. So you have to choose that, right? It comes in motions, and you have to make sure that you're prepared to come in that motion and don't let the wave hit you hard and drown you. So building resilience is thinking about your positive thoughts. Don't let one mishap ruin your goal or your day. Just let it go, right? Some of us are, I'm one of them. I'm sometimes an overachiever, or sometimes I try to perfect things in my life, right? But it never happens the way I like it. But Does it sometimes ruin my goal? Yes, it does. Does it sometimes ruin my day? Yeah, it does. But I find time to decompress. I find time to relax. I find time to say, excuse my language, fuck it. You know, it is what it is. I'm just gonna go move forward and do something else because it's to me, it's not worth it. It's not worth my time. It's not worth my life. It's not worth for me to have white hair and start my face start drooping and get all mad and angry. It's not worth it. You sometimes have to let it go because again, the stresses you can feel that effect and how you handle it and how you behave. And also when you're angry and when you're feeling that mishap ruins your day, you not only ruin your day, but other people around you that wants to be with you starts to say, you know what, I don't want to be with you today. I'm just gonna go ahead and move away. Now you don't have anybody to kind of talk to, right? So it affects your whole environment. And also another thing to do is learn from your past. And that's what I mean. Learn from your past. You've learned how to think about something in your life that you had a difficult time, difficult moment, difficult challenge in your life that you were able to overcome. Or if you didn't, what can you do better? What can you do to make sure that you don't fall on the same on that path? Try to, what have you done differently? Or what could you do differently at this time? And so it's also important to look at that piece and say to yourself, you know what, I think I've learned A, B, and C. But I'm not going to let it affect me. I'm going to make sure that this time around I'll do it a little bit different, right? And you have to learn how to accept the change and then also learn from the past. Always remember to make a goal of long-term, short-term. Remember your treatment plan. You know how you work. Now that treatment plan that you have while you were at Sierra, not just a paper. It's your roadmap to how you want to get from A to Z. So make a roadmap and be proactive, move towards that goal and look for opportunities, do what benefits you. And yes, it is okay to be selfish. It is okay. Because if you are not better and you're not able to bounce back, but then you have this urge to help others, how can you do that if you are not yourself better? Right? You have to make sure that you have taken care of yourself before you can put others before you can put yourself to help others. And it's okay to reset. You fall back and you're like, darn it, I have to go back to step one. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay to reset. It's okay to decompress. This means that you can cry, you can shout, you can feel pain, accept the bump on the road. It's okay. One of the things that I've learned is to learn how to scream. In my culture, like the only time I'm screaming is, my parents are getting, whooping on my butt, and that's the only time I can scream. Even then, I can't probably scream because it hurts, right? It's like no way. But I learned how to express in a way where I could, whether it's screaming. One time I took boxing, and I can honestly tell you when I'm after work, when I'm frustrated, instead of me punching one of the program directors, kidding, I don't do that yet. I go to a boxing. I'm not a good boxer or anything, but I just like to punch because it's just a way of releasing that energy and releasing that anger. And after that, guess what? I feel good. It's like I decompress. I let it go. I released it. Now my fist hurts and my probably shoulder, I probably knocked it a couple of times, but it made me feel good. I got it all out. I'm not a yoga person. I'm still have that part where I cannot stay in one place. So that's why I like exercise that are vigorous and fast paced, right? Because maybe some people like to do the yoga, like to do some kind of breathing exercise, and that also helps well too. I like to go hiking. Do something out of your boundaries that you're not used to. Like I never took boxing before. I took it. We were in an area where you can do a lot of hiking or you can do a lot of walking. Do that. Get out. Just, instead of you getting mad and like, go out and start walking away, because it's better than walking away than you know what, there's the alcohol right there, or there's this right there. I'm going to just take that because it's a quick fix. Again, you're doing more destruction to your body than actually helping yourself. And these are just quick fix. And it's and you know how it is. One will make you quick, and then the second one, next time you try, it's not gonna do the same thing, so you double it, and then you add more and more and more. It just damages you. It doesn't do anything. It's just a bandage. Quick fix. Embrace your healthy thoughts. Accept the change. Maintain a hopeful outlook. There's two types of people that we always talk about: the pessimist, optimist. Sometimes it's okay to be a pessimist, but more oftentimes the people that are optimistic tend to have more better outcome of their life. Whether it's even if it's like there's living in an an area where it's not conducive to their recovery, but they look at the optimism of like, okay, I can move out of here. I can do my best to get out of here. It does make a lot of difference when you're looking at a situation that's more hopeful than rather than saying, I'm stuck here and that's it. That's all I can do. You know what? I'm just going to play along with it. Don't. Always be hopeful. Always think positive. Always think of the future, the optimism. Be there. And it doesn't have to be a huge a goal. It can just be something small. Also, another thing that you need to learn too, as I've learned as well too, is get to know yourself, your culture, your race, your family origin. It's so nice sometimes to often see that dynamic of how you became who you are, what affected you in your life. Because when you start learning all of those different factors in your life and who made you, then you can start either number one, avoiding those situations that you know that's going to be negative to your long-term goal or short-term goals that are positive. Or you can also find a way where like, oh, okay, this is a part of my life that I really enjoy, that I really like, and I'm glad I know this. And you get more and more, what do you call adventurous in those things. Like you want to know more about yourself. So there's different ways of being the resilient. So going back to your scores, and I'm too bad I can't see all of you, whether you're raising your hand or not, but think about it, whether you're low, normal, or high. Where are you in that resilience? What kind of a ball are you? Can you bounce back that quickly? Or you kind of like a little bit deflated where you're like, it'll take time for you to kind of move back up, right? You look at other people, and this is how I see it too. Being as an immigrant, I often wonder how some people that came here, whether by boat, or whether through communism and so forth, and they had nothing on their back, not besides the clothes that are on their back. And you see how they can build their life back up again, leaving everything behind, coming here and leaving it. It's like, how do they do that? How are they able to bounce back? It amazes me sometimes. Because if you put me in that situation now, I can honestly tell you, I don't know if I could be able to bounce back. It might take me a long time, very long time. But again, the resiliency that some of these people have learned has really benefited them because now they are able to move forward. The bad part of it sometimes is they tend to hold it in. And that's when you get the PTSD, the trauma. But then again, it's learning from the history is how they're able to move forward and to bounce back from the circumstances they were in before. So just, I want you to be able to accept the change. I want you to be able to be malleable. I want you to look at those waves, and it comes in waves that you can go up and down, and it's okay. Accept that. Doing your self-care, things that you learn at Sierra, things that you learn while you're in treatment, or things that you're learning now. There's a reason why we teach you those things, because we want you to know there's other avenues to take care of yourself than what you're doing now or what you were doing before. And so I want to encourage you all to, look at what your goals are, write it in a piece of paper, your treatment, your goals, write it down step by step. You might skip a step. You might not skip a step. You might miss a step. It's okay. You have to look at the end product of that goal. And that's what you need to have in your to become resilient.